Hello, friends of Kashmir Pen. I'm back again like a bad coin and want to continue from where I left. Last Sunday, I talked about Sam Weller and his Wellerisms in the Pickwick Papers. And today, I'm going to talk a little more about some scenes from the Pickwick Papers. So this is a book which I love a lot and I keep going back to it. And I love the characterizations that Dickens has done in this book. There are many interesting characters and you should get hold of this book. I repeatedly say this to my students and read it and read it. And get hold of certain things, certain ways he deals with characters, Mr. Charles Dickens, and you will really love his way with words. So Mr. Pickwick, as I told you last time, is an elderly man and he's the founder of Pickwick Club. The Pickwick Club. He loves food and drink and collecting interesting facts and stories on his travels. And he's also fond of documenting human nature, and in the course of his journey, he comes to learn about deception and suffering. This book, The Pickwick Papers, follows his adventures as he travels throughout England. Spending time with his closest friends, frequently accompanied by Sam Weller, Mr. Pickwick is a humanitarian and a scholar, but seems to be very naive and easily fooled, guided by a sort of boyish naivety. There are several embarrassing experiences that he comes across, but the most challenging is when his landlady accuses him of breach of promise, landing him in prison. Mr. Pickwick survives his time in prison and is eventually vindicated. This book is bursting with comical chaos, a case of mistaken identity, romantic entanglements, and yes, I recall a scene where Mr. Pickwick comes across Mr. Jingle, who is always trying to evade him, and this scene gives rise to recurring comedy. But right now, I wish to read a few lines, the second chapter, in fact, the first few lines of the second chapter, and the second chapter is titled, The First Day's Journey and the First Evening's Adventures with Their Consequences. So here I go. The punctual servant of all work, the sun, had just risen and begun to strike a light on the morning of the 13th of May, 1827, when Mr. Samuel Pickwick burst like another sun from his slumbers, threw open his chamber window, and looked out upon the world beneath. And the world beneath was Goswell Street. Goswell Street was at his feet. Goswell Street was on his right hand as far as the eye could reach. Goswell Street extended on his left, and the opposite side of Goswell Street was over the way. Such, thought Mr. Pickwick, are the narrow views of these philosophers who, content with examining the things that lie before them, look not to the truths which are hidden beyond. And having given vent to his beautiful reflection, Mr. Pickwick proceeded to put himself into his clothes and his clothes into his portmanteau. Great men are seldom over-scrupulous in the arrangement of their attire. The operation of shaving, dressing, and coffee imbibing was soon performed, and in another hour, Mr. Pickwick, with his portmanteau in his hand and the telescope in his greatcoat pocket and his notebook in his waistcoat, ready for the reception of any discoveries worthy of being noted down, had arrived at the coach stand in St. Martin-le-Grand. "Cab," said Mr. Pickwick. "Here you are, sir," shouted a strange specimen of the human race in a sackcloth coat and apron of the same, who, with the brass label and number round his neck, looked as if he was catalogued in some collection of rarities. This was the waterman. "Here you are, sir. Now then, first cab." And the first cab, having been fetched from the public house where he had been smoking from his his first pipe, Mr. Pickwick and his portmanteau were thrown into the vehicle. Golden Cross, said Mr. Pickwick. Only a bob's worth, Tommy, cried the driver, sulkily, for the information of his friend, the waterman, as the cab drove off. Thank you. Thank you so much. And get hold of this book. Believe me, you will love it. And bye. Toodaloo. See you next Sunday.